today we're going to do a cinematography breakdown of a short film that I shot back in 2021. This is a short called Black Butterflies, and it was a really low budget, simple shoot. It was 2 days, minimal cast, minimal crew. It was just about trying to make something and make it look good with a very minimal budget. Now, it's been a number of years since I shot this, and I feel like I've come a really long way since then. So I think it's an interesting exercise to kind of dive back into my old work and look at the things that I did well and look at the things that perhaps I didn't do so well and how I would approach it differently with the knowledge I now have. So that being said, let's get stuck in. So yeah, we've got this shot of the cup of water, we've got the title pops up, and this was set up in the director's kitchen, and we had this pipette full of ink which we dripped into the water, and I think this was shot 100 frames per second on the Ursa Mini Pro G2. So essentially in the background here is a white Manfrotto frame, and this was kind of set up as a backdrop. What we've got here is a table which has then been masked out in post. On this side we've got a 1x1 frame with a fixture bouncing through it to give us a nice soft key light, but you can see we're getting those specular highlights down this side of the glass. It's one of them. In an ideal world I would have backed up the fixture a little bit just to kind of reduce that highlight slightly, but then we've got a little bit of neg on this side just to give us a bit of shape in the glass, because obviously we're shooting through a transparent, mostly transparent liquid onto a white background, so we wanted that little bit of fall off on this side of the frame. So moving on, we've got this little pan across the floor, and then we're into this sort of master wide, which is a little push in on a slider. Now, in terms of lighting for this, in this corner here, we've got a Nanlite Forza 300 or 500 with a Fresnel that's sort of bouncing upwards into the ceiling. And the idea behind that is it's kind of carrying the natural light through this window. So it's just about trying to lift that level inside and carry what that window's doing. And then on the left side of the frame, we've got a Falcon Eyes 1x1, which is sort of here, and it's giving us, in reflection, a little bit too much level on this side. Like we can see we're really quite flat, and I would have liked to have gone a little bit darker here to preserve some shape on the face. So yeah, I mean, looking at this now, I'd definitely try and give us a little bit more shadow on this side. I mean, you can see a real highlight there. I just want to kind of kill that all a little bit. What we do have is this top-down shot where we've got some nicer shape on the face. We've got that shadow there. We've got the key light coming in from there, which is, again, it's that Forza 300 kind of carrying what the window is naturally doing. Again, on this, we've got, that's the natural light. And you can see that highlight in the eye there, that's from the Forza. And then we're just kind of letting everything else, I mean, this is a terrible chromatic aberration here. But we're kind of letting everything else fall off and just play sort of however it wants to play. So on this shot, we've got that natural highlight here from the window, which is kicking in that way. Up in this corner, we put a Falcon Eyes 1x1 just to give us a nice kind of shape. You can see we've got the darker side of the face here. We've got that nose shadow. It's almost Rembrandt, not quite, but it's just trying to tuck in. And you can see we've got little catch light here just from that Falcon Eyes 1x1. So again, you know, really, really simple stuff, letting the window kind of do what it needs to do and then trying to balance against that. So this is our sort of master shot, and it's a slow pull out on a slider. And in terms of lighting, it's pretty simple. We've got a Nanlite Forza 500, which is sort of over in this kind of space here, which is bouncing into a 1 meter bounce frame. And that's giving us all this level on this side of the face. As a very intense backlight, which I kind of regret and wish I'd done something different, we've got a Forza 300 with a Fresnel on it again, and it's giving us this sort of streak of light on the back wall, which is playing a little bit too hot. And if I was to do this again, I'd be using a smaller fixture to try and get that streak with the barn doors a little bit more closed down. And there's a big natural light window here, which is also giving us a lot of level on those walls. And unfortunately, there were no blinds or no way to control them really. On the left side of frame, we've got a 1.5 meter Manfrotto frame here to give us a little bit of neg and texture just on this side of the face. And you can see we are getting a little bit of catch light in the eyes. Again, that's going to be from that Forza 500 bounce. But yeah, like I'm not unhappy with the face here. It's just that back wall is so incredibly distracting. I think if I was in this exact situation again, this was probably not the situation to try and get a slasher light on the wall, just because of how close to the wall the sofa had to be because of the space. There's no real separation there. So I think what I would probably have done is I would have taken this 1.5 meter frame and used it to kill that window as much as possible. I probably still would have gone for the bounce source on this side, just to give us that shape here. And then I would have killed the window, so hopefully that'd bring all this nastiness just down. And then I could maybe have used a smaller frame for neg on this side. And I think that's probably how I'd attack it if I was in this exact situation again, because I just feel that slash of light here, just in this situation, really isn't doing us any favours. So then we've got this side profile shot here, which lit again very similarly. We've got the windows here, which are all giving us a lot of like natural light, and it's sort of hazing out the image slightly. And then we've got the bounce frame just out of frame here with that Forza, which is pushing as much level back into the room as we can. So we're getting that nice kind of shape. You've got that little Rembrandt triangle there. And then I believe we've got that neg frame back in play. Yeah, so on this side, we've got that big 1.5 meter frame right up close just to help give us that texture on this side of the face. So yeah, pretty happy with this as a frame. I mean, we are starting to lose a bit of information in the sky. Like here, it is pretty much burnt out. Like especially here, you can see it. We've lost that information. How to solve that? I didn't really expose enough for the windows. I was a little bit screwed trying to get balance and level inside the room. So I definitely exposed for the windows, and then I'd be trying to push more level interior. So you know, maybe a more powerful fixture, and if we were looking too dark, possibly wouldn't need the neg. So again, you know, interesting to see how I'd approach this differently. So then we're into a closer version of that master shot, and again, lighting didn't really change. I think what we did was we brought the framing closer to increase that contrast. So as you can see, like this side of the face, super dark now, which doesn't really match with the wide. We are pushing those levels a bit more, and we've still got that really distracting, that attempt of a slash on the back wall, which didn't really work out. And then we've got a sort of match to that side profile. This is a bit more tighter. I think the idea behind this was we wanted to try and be in the character's head more, but lighting is exactly the same to that previous shot. No difference really here, just a different angle. You can see, so we shot this on vintage Contax Zeiss lenses, and you can see here, because of the extreme highlight, that chromatic aberration on the nose. So again, this lighting in this, it's exactly the same as we've had. We've got the Forza into the frame, giving us all that level on the face here. We've got the neg frame over here, really crushing us down. I mean, we've pretty much lost detail here. but we've got a decent contrast ratio. It's quite harsh, and then we're starting to get that little triangle of light there, and you can see a really super soft catch light in the eyes. So I think on this shot for the close-ups, we'd walk in this frame and the bounce, and then we would also walk in the neg just to increase that contrast, when really I probably could have left it alone and let it play similar to how it was playing in that wide shot. So we're back into the therapist's office, and this is another day in the film, and we basically signified that just by changing costume, but all the shots and all the coverage are the same because we wanted that kind of that repetition between the coverage, so it felt like he was going through the same thing time and time again. One of the differences here is we're starting to explore the main character's mindset a little more. And as I said, all the coverage is the same, but we added in this extra shot. So we go from this typical mid close-up that we've used a number of times, and we punch in to this much tighter macro shot of the eyes. So then here we are on some externals, a little bit of slow-mo walking. This was approaching golden hour. And we've just got the character walking through the woods. All of this is natural light. With this shot, we've got a little bit of bounce, just to help fill in that face. And again here, a little bit of a iffy focus pull there, but we've got a bounce frame just on the right that's giving us a little bit of fill. And then he comes and sits down, looking over the hills and the sort of the buildings in the distance. So here we're basically natural light and just using frames to control it. We've got a small 1 meter frame skinned with 0.75 stop diffusion, just to soften up the direct light that was hitting his face. And then that's on the left, and then on that same left side we've also brought in some neg fill just to help up the contrast ratio slightly on this. But yeah, that'll about wrap it up for this one. There's going to be more breakdowns coming soon, so stay tuned for that, and I will catch you guys in the next one.